All right, what's going on? Good people, back at it once again. This time, just Adam and DJ here. Adam over there, DJ right here, just in case you didn't understand. Anyway, Adam, DJ here. Casey is on assignment, as they say. I think he had a wrestling show tonight. I don't
Which
know.
is code for he's doing nothing.
Probably. Justin, well, is also on assignment, so which is code for. But anyway, we're gonna hop into this Money in the Bank review, and we'll probably talk about a little bit of stuff that's been going on too. Since if I do another video with the rest of the fellows, you probably won't be on that video if we try to do it sometime this week. So I kind of want to hear your thoughts on the going ons, as they say, the going ons for this week as well. But I'm gonna let you guys get a chance to give this video, audio, whatever you may be watching / listening to, a like, a share with your friends, your enemies, your mama, your daddy, whoever. I don't care. I don't care who it is. Your auntie. Oh, don't forget auntie. Don't forget auntie. You can't forget auntie. She always want to watch. But send it to whoever you need to send it to, and we're going to come on back and review this show for you guys. I'm excited. Glad to be back. Should be fun. We'll be right back. Welcome in to the Instant Classic Wrestling Podcast, the only podcast that is always, I mean always, he means always, they mean always, you mean always, she means always, an instant classic.
Danny Dunn! Hi,
We will see you on the flippity dippity. Oh yeah.
Basically, what I meant was send it to your peoples. Send it to your peoples. But anyway, what's going on?
What you were pulling, you were basically trying to pull the Stuart. You were trying to pull the Stuart Scott of shout out to the congregation, Pookie, Ray Ray, and Lucretia. Send it out to your friends, to your peeps, to the fam, whatever it may be.
To your peeps. Ever since Christian came up with that, I always like to say peeps. That's just that's kind of my thing, But we're gonna talk about Money in the Bank, and we'll get into the potential rumors of Punk and Brian, which I don't know if they're rumors stamped in ink. I don't know. Punk's one of those where I believe it when I see it type of a thing. It's always gonna be like that.
Right. I do believe if I saw it right, because I was having the discussion with Casey about this, is that it's been bandied about for the last few years. We'll get into it, but it's been bandied about for a few years about a possible return for him. But this is the first time that any of that news has actually gotten legs. Ever since he made that appearance at StarCast, where he said that he would not answer the phone if WWE called. So people have been running with that sense. And he's always going to be in the conversation until he really says that I physically can't do it anymore, because he's still in great shape. He can have a run, but it doesn't have to be a major run, but he can have a run and it'll mean something. But I do believe that it is official. It's pen to paper. Now, don't care no more. Casey, if you're referring to your opinions, yes, we care no mo. Just saying. And by the way, sir, do not make me bring up the comparison I made earlier of Scott Stapp and unbearded Seth Rollins. That was a side conversation.
While we're on the Punk Brian thing, we might as well talk about it, since it is kind of the newer news of the two things, the newer topics of the two topics that we'll talk about. I'm gonna go from the standpoint of it's happening and it's confirmed. I'm gonna go from kind of the if it is happening, if it is confirmed type of a scenario. I think it's cool. I wish it was. When did Punk step away? 6 years ago? Was it 6 years ago? Was it that long ago?
14.
14? So 7 years ago.
14.
if it was 3, 4, 5 years ago, I would be really excited for it because I mean I think fans waited for this for years and years and years, and there are some fans who have literally waited 7 years for this moment, right? Now for me, personal fan in me, I've gotten over it. Like for as a fan, it's kind of like past my radar now because there's just so much other stuff going on, and even in wrestling, right? Like to where like this return isn't like it'll I don't think it doesn't really resonate with me until it like hits my screen, I guess. If I see him on AEW or like if he comes out and does something, cuts a promo or something, then I'll be like, okay, this is for real. But I think right now I'm kind of still in that state of the boy who cried wolf. I'm in that type of a state. I'm in the type of a state of like it's kind of like the boy who cries wolf to me. That's kind of where I'm
at. Right. No, I get it, and I know, and I know for some, because it's been talked about so much. It's like how do we go go about this? Very much a I'll believe it when I see it type thing, and it's a different mindset just because he stepped away out of his own volition, not injury related, wasn't forced to retire. He just said, "I'm out. See you later," and really thought that hey, there was no chance of it ever happening again because WWE beat the passion out of him. But I mean, things changed, things evolved. I mean, especially when he really settled down with AJ. I mean, for anybody that's never heard of the Cole Cabana podcast, you can listen to just specifically the tail end of what happened before he got fired, leading up to his getting fired, and him getting fired on his wedding day, which is bad. Uh, wouldn't want to have that. Wouldn't want that to happen to anybody. But to me, regardless, in my opinion, like Punk being in a ring is good for business at any platform, whether it's AEW, WWE, Ring of Honor, and on any platform. Now he has said that I'm not just going to come back for a paycheck in terms of being, as he put it, being just doing more bad television. But as it's bandied about, he is officially signed again. So it's been said. There's been no retractions or anything. So I can only go by what the consensus is at this point. Even though I do believe in this climate, we don't always have to blow the lead right from the get go. I mean, if it is AEW, they could have kept this quiet until whether it had been All Out or when they had that show at Arthur Ashe.
and that's the thing.
Weeks.
That's the thing that gets me. And we talk about it a lot, just in general. I think a lot of casual fans bring it up, like, where's the surprises? Where's the like you want a shock and awe moment? Both of them could have been that moment. You tried to like pull a shock and awe moment out of like Andrade, of course, Alistair, and some of the other ones, but like you have the biggest return maybe of like the decade, the most unexpected return of possibly the decade. And you're like, you know what? Let's just post it on Twitter or whatever. And I don't know, like, in terms of like, I don't know where this is posted. I haven't seen an official like AEW has said it. It's just been like reports, but even like, and I get it, like from the reporter standpoint, you want the view of it, but like, I don't know. I wish it was still like a rumor. Like, I don't know. I wish it was one of those things where it was just like, I want to be surprised that it happens. And like, just because I'm a stubborn fan at this point, I probably will still be surprised if it happens. But like, they signed Alistair, they signed Andrade, they signed just plenty of other people FTR, and all these people, even Sting. Why Big Show, like Mark Henry? Why isn't this more of like, this is the surprise you wanted, for lack of a better term, for lack of words at this point? This is the surprise you wanted. Why not keep it as such? Like, and I don't know how you can combat like reports, right? Like and I think it almost in a way kind of goes back to kayfabe too. Like, there's been reports of things, even in like the NFL. Like, there's been reports of people wanting a certain amount of money, and then the person comes out and is like, no. Like, couldn't Punk have tweeted, "I'm not coming back to the ring," or something, right? Like, something to like just add a little bit more to the surprise of it, because I get the reports. I understand that. If I was a writer, I'd do the same darn thing. But from a fan's perspective, I want this to be like a, whoa, this is a big moment. And why has there been no response on either way? Or like, why is it even AEW said, you know, although there are reports out there, this is entirely not true. Like, lie. This is the biggest return of the 2000, well, since 2010, probably. Don't you want it to be something that's big and worth a darn? I don't know. You had a thought. Like, I'm trying to put it all together, but I'm a little confused. You've had all these people come in as surprise debuts. You got one of the guys that people have literally been waiting on for 7 years. People have literally been waiting on, have been chanting CM Punk for 7 years. And now you have it right in front of you, and you're not going to try to make it more of a surprise than it already is. It's just going to be like, CM Punk's on. Why?
Yay. But yeah, and what you were just laying out, I was going to make the point of Edge at the Rumble 2 years ago, or last year. I'm sorry. It kept being whispered, and he said, "Hey guys, it's fine. You know, I'm glad this is getting the conversation going, but no way, no how, blah blah blah." Yeah, again, this is the wrestling business. BS us. We'll in a way we will fall for it, because which is another reason why when he did come out at the Rumble, and the fact that he was 16, 17, they waited and waited and waited and waited. And then listen to that freaking reaction. Not just the fact that they were in a stadium. That place came unglued, which we'll talk about with the Money in the Bank review, to be continued. But yes, we know things get leaked because everybody wants to be the one to crack the story. But this is what I find funny is that the wrestling media per se, your Alvarez, Meltzer, Mike Johnson's, Wade Ellers of the world, those are the high marks. A lot of people take what they say to heart, but everybody and their mom that has a website or has a podcast, they want to be the ones to crack the story. But like, don't you inherently want to keep kayfabe? Unless, and this was the beauty of the dirt sheets, quote unquote, back in the day, is that those people that were smart to the business, they were challenging people not to break those stories. That's why they would do the again, this is where the marks come in, where again you take that fucking powder and plop them in the back and say, this person's a mark. This will in a way protect the business. Now it's again it's widely accepted. But I would as a journalist, if I were running a dirt sheet, I would theorize, but I would not say at any point such and such is signed to All Elite Wrestling or such and such is signed with WWE or anywhere. Let it be authentic. Because now, like, you hold the cards. you hold the cards, whatever. Though, let's try to keep it suppressed a little bit until that comes on screen. And I'll give you another example. When ESPN did their 40th anniversary special, they had this big town hall thing where they had all the sportscasters from over the years, and they did a Q&A, and they were just telling stories. Later that night, Dan Patrick did a ESPN broadcast, and nobody knew about it. And Dan said, I'll do this, but let's keep it quiet. Let's not do what ESPN always does, which is just cram it down our gullet. Like, this is going to happen. There's no spontaneity. There's no surprise. There's no genuine reaction. And then when Scott Van Pelt leaked a photo a minute or two before SportsCenter was going to reply to, man, boom, 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 boom. People were on it. So I'm like, why can't we do that with Punk? And to your point too, why can't there be a joint understanding? Like, let's work with this a little bit. Again, guys, it's a work. It's like, guys, let's get it out there. I'll vehemently deny and say, like, look, we've talked for a while, and again, it's just, it was a fun conversation, but probably not. And then set it up to whether it be on Dynamite or at All Out, however they want to do it. Boom. And even with Moxley at Double or Nothing, not last year, but the year before, I think it was kind of like, yeah, he's going to go. But when he came out, it was still a genuine surprise because he didn't come out to the end of the show. They didn't say, we have signed Jonathan Good, as you better known as Jon Moxley, former WWE star. They didn't say
or
a
whatever
word.
his name is going to be.
Or whatever his name's going to be. Dambros? So, but no, anyway, we're on the same page. It's like we don't always want to know the scoop beforehand, before it happens. We still want to get lost in the presentation and still be surprised.
Do they still do what is it, WWE Backstage or whatever?
That is a good question. I don't
they had brought it back.
So.
If he could just work that deal with Fox one more time and just pop up on WWE Backstage, I feel like that's enough. Like, I feel like that's like, because it's not technically a WWE show, but like people associate it with WWE. I don't know if he could legally pull that one off.
Yeah, but, like I said, I don't think they do it anymore, because I think and his problems with it were like, guys, you say it's not yes, they're talking about WWE, but they're like, we're giving the illusion that they are not involved. So let's keep that. So let us be truthful, like, let us say, like, this sucked. I thought that was good. Here's where they can be better. It can't be just another puff piece for the company. It's like, no, if this is a true legit thing, you do that with the sports talk shows. You have someone that's contrarian, and you have somebody that kind of has, I thought this was good, all that stuff. Yeah, but in that match with such and such and such and such, I don't know where they were going with this. You don't always have to Vince. You don't always have to have your hands in the creative process on that. If something is have the viewpoint of being separate from the company, let it be so. Yeah,
and I think too, from what I've seen, Punk has been very silent. He's been very silent about the whole deal, which is good. I think that's a way to handle it. He hasn't said anything about it. I think he retweeted something that WWE put out about his run or something. I don't know if it's WWE or it was somebody. I have to look back to see what it was, but it was somebody. He had he had retweeted it, and he was like, "That's neat" or something like that. Which, I mean, whatever, is fine. So I mean, I think in a way that's kind of a good way to do it. Don't say anything. Just keep your mouth shut about it, because sometimes I think when you see the whole Punk's officially signed, then Punk goes and retweets it. Like, no, don't don't even acknowledge it that it's a thing. This isn't Roman Reigns. Don't acknowledge it. Like, come on now. Like no, we don't need that. That's not the way. No. See, ha. My last question in terms of this whole, like, in terms of like this whole thing with AEW, because of course we'll get into some returns that we had on Money in the Bank as well coming in as we talk about the show a little bit more. But like, what does it say about AEW? And I want to pose this question to those watching, and also I'll again try to remember to pose this question to Justin and to Casey too when we discuss this at some point. What does this say about AEW? Because I didn't mean to pull your comment up, Casey, about Thunderbolt Patterson. I forgot about that. Sorry. I got lost in the sauces, as LA Eli would say. But but like, what does it say about AEW as a company? Does it say they're worth a darn? Does it say they're actual competition? Does it say that they are this alternative that we all seek for? Does it say that they have good workers in the company? What do you think it says about AEW? Because to me, for this story to have some sort of legs, some sort of running room, some sort of open field, for lack of a better analogy, it seems like it helps if they can pull both of these off. Even just Bryan's a good one, but especially with Punk, it aids to the credibility of AEW, because Punk has said that he will not do business with foolishness, and not in those exact terms, but I mean, just being, shooting straight, Punk has said he's not going to do business with foolishness. So, he's not going to do business. I think you said it earlier, even it was either before we got on or a few seconds into the video, like, he's not going to just do business with whoever, right? He's not going to just, put his face on something that's not worth his time. He's not coming. I think you put it like, he's not just coming in to get a check just because somebody gave him some money. So like,
I'm not going to be a guy that another guy that comes in and does bad television.
Yeah, right. That was the statement. And I'm trying to figure out like what this means for AEW. Does this, and I think if they pull it off, gives them more credibility by far, because everybody knows who Punk is, number one. And two, like, Punk has been out of the business for 7 years for that exact reason we just mentioned. So that makes AEW, even you can say what you want about AEW, whoever's watching, if you don't like AEW, if you don't watch AEW, but you sign Punk, and it's like, it's not even the fact of signing Punk as a huge star. It's also the things he said in the past that's kept him away from the business for 7 years. Like you said, it wasn't an injury. It wasn't anything that like he couldn't help. It was on his own, his own volition that he was like, you know what? Yep, I'm done. So like, what do you think this means for AEW? And I'm
good for him.
Comments up as we go to. What do you think this means for AEW? Yeah, I could see that.
No, but by the standards of the casual fan, anyway, and that always needs to be the pull. But there's two sides to this coin. There's a duality here. At the same time, especially in the business of professional wrestling, you have a star, regardless of our feelings, most people's feelings of you. Say, like, you packed your bags and went home and whatnot. But like, to me, it was, again, out of his own volition. He says, "I don't like this anymore. I'm gone." You have, again, I could I almost know word for word that meeting he had with Triple H and Vince. But but nonetheless, as a company, AEW need to have their due diligence to sign any potential star that is available. And if Punk is one of those stars, if Bryan Danielson is one of those stars, you do any means that you can to get said star. I mean, why wouldn't you on any platform? Again, whether it's Impact, whether it's ROH, whether it's AEW, anybody not related to WWE. So, I mean, you have to do what you can to try to attract more eyes. AEW, first time, if I'm not mistaken, someone correct me if I'm wrong. I believe this is the first time since their existence that they went back-to-back weeks over 1 million viewers and had a slight uptick from the previous week. So that's good. So that's where the conversation comes into play is once you reach that million mark, what can you do to withhold that and increase from there? Because that's the thing. TNT, obviously they're giving them a lot of rope, but if they just remain status quo at that 800,000 mark, eventually that's going to come back to bite them in the ass. So in this instance with Punk, yes, you do your due diligence to get that. But the other thing too, my objections to what they've always claimed is that they have always claimed that you take away the Jerichos, you take away the Moxleys, you take away that. They have had the standpoint of we can survive and we can get the pull by our own volition to people that we deem as stars, and this is how we're going to present them on television. But they again are mirroring WWE in a lot of ways. Creatively, maybe no, but there are things that they have taken from, which we all do in any type of creativity. You take a little bit from the past and you try to put your own spin on it. Problem is when you do copy and paste and just have different figures, it's just a complete ripoff, and it doesn't come off very well. But they have made it seem like these people can stand, can help the company just on their own merits. But look who they're really trying to push. The Aleister Blacks, Malachi Black, whatever, Cody, Jericho, um, Andrade, stuff like that. All past WWE guys. Kenny, basically the elite guys. They were originally going to be the pull from what they view from the masses as to get them to watch AEW. Jericho brought them credibility. Now, much like anything else, there is 87 factions in AEW. Nobody can just stand on their own. That's why I always, when we review a show, I always ask the question, who are we trying to push? Go with somebody, and if you are wanting to give them a push, run with it. Don't have Hangman Page with the Dark Order. That doesn't mix, especially if they're not going to be heels.
What is the Dark Order at this point?
I don't know. I don't know. They're called the Dark Order, but they're kind of viewed as like these lovable losers now. And they kind of took Adam Page because he was down on his luck and we brought him up. Why? This is the guy that again his moniker is cowboy shit. How does that work for this thing that's supposed to be like a demonic group? Which they're only baby faces because of what happened to Brody Lee, may rest in peace. But my thing is, if they're not going to be heels, split the group. Maybe still keep Grayson and Evil Uno as a tag team. That's fine. But overall, as the group, just let it be. The most entertaining guy of the bunch is John Silver, and they have not featured him in months.
That's true.
But anyway,
John Silver. Man, they got some good fish. Oh, sorry, wrong.
Well, they got some good chicken. They got some good frizzles. It's delish. But my thing is whether on purpose or he's just deeming it a good business. Tony Khan is slowly becoming Eric Bischoff 2.0. Now, different scenario just because Nitro and Raw were legit head to head. This whole time, AEW up until the date change or the day change was going against NXT, which is again to the masses viewed as the C show. For wrestling fans, that's more likely would probably be the A show overall. And that's the split is AEW gives you more wrestling, legit wrestling. But the problem is their booking is terrible. WWE insults your intelligence. So with Punk, Tony Khan needs to know who he's dealing with. Phil Brooks is not to be effed with because he's going to say, like, whatever money you want to give me, hey, I appreciate that. But I want to make sure that creatively I have a little bit more leave. I want to make some guys, and again, I'm just freestyling ideas. I want to make sure that I have some creative liberties to where I'm not going to make myself look bad. I'm not going to be gone for 7 years and come back and be doing comedy spots with Bucks and the Omega and all this stuff. I want to try to help this company and give them a better aura about them. And not to mention now in next month or in September, whatever it is, then they're going to have a second show. So if whether he is going to be the mainstay on that, or if he's going to be the mainstay on Dynamite, regardless, this is going to elevate them at some point, to some degree. But they can't fumble with him. It's like no, like I'm not saying that I'm not going to do business, but again, you're not going to have me come in here and be working with Marco Stunt or Brandon Cutler. That's not what I'm here for. I'm here to make you guys look good.
Yeah. I'm sure there'll be more development on that as we go along in terms of seeing how this is going to go, seeing how it's going to play out. Let's jump into Money in the Bank. I actually may talk about Money in the Bank for a shorter period of time than that because I think that's kind of the big news as opposed to even Money in the Bank in a way. But let's jump into Money in the Bank. I'm just going to kind of free flow it, I guess. Just kind of free flow it a little bit, just because I think there's stuff we want to talk about. I think there's other stuff that maybe we don't want to talk about as much. So I'm just going to kind of just go with it. And if you have anything on the show that you're just like, we got to talk about that, just bring it up. But the Usos took back the SmackDown Tag Team titles. It's tough for me because on one hand, like, it kind of feels like they wasted that moment with Ray and Dominic because you just gave it to them. You're just letting them kind of develop as a team. Why not wait on it? You don't have to do it immediately. Like, you don't have to go that route immediately. You could, I mean, it's going to be history whether you do it now or whether you do it 6 months from now. So, why don't you let them develop more as a team and become more likable as a team and then give them the titles? Because, I mean, I think it worked, but I think if you were going to just give the Usos the titles, like literally a month later, then I kind of sometimes I question a little bit of that. It kind of goes back to the 50-50 booking, and then it's a title on top of it. So you're just, tossing it back and forth at this point, playing catch with it. But I'm cool with the aesthetic of Roman having the Universal title and the Usos having the title because it builds the bloodline as this real deal faction. I'm cool with that. I think that aesthetic in terms of like factions is awesome. Like, I think it can build any faction up to see the faction hold every title or everybody in the faction holding a title. I think that's always a good visual. But why give Ray and Dominic the titles in the first place if you were just going to pull it off of them? And kind of ruin the moment in a way because they kind of had been building them up. So that was kind of something I didn't truly understand. Match was good from what I saw of it. Didn't watch much of it on the pre-show. I didn't care that much about it because I kind of accidentally watched it just because I I didn't realize the show started at. I thought the show started at 7, and now they just decided to start them at 8 now. So it's kind of back to the normal way of how they used to do it. But then it's weird at the same time because you're so used to them starting shows at 7 for years now. So, but I mean, it was a good match. I love the Usos. I think they're great. And I think they're good in Roman's faction. I just hope they get a little bit more, time to talk, time to build their own stuff up too, because I think sometimes they lean so much on Roman, which is fine. Of course, he's, your top guy at this point, but sometimes I think they lean so much on Roman that the Usos don't get a say, and the Usos are amazing at saying things, for lack of a better way to say it. They're amazing at cutting their promos and being who they are. So I think they still deserve a spot to shine too. But what's your thoughts on the new tag team champions in the Usos?
Well, and you brought it up. Like I really don't know the reasoning, and I actually believe it. I think it was when did they win those?
It was literally
Ray
like the
Dominic. When
last
did they win
pay-per-view.
the titles?
I can't remember what pay-per-view it was, but it was literally the last pay-per-view. What was it?
Yeah, right. And because I was going to say, like, it wasn't Mania, obviously, it was something like that. But that was my thought. But no, regardless,
was it Hell in a Cell?
It felt like I think it might have been Hell in a Cell. That's what I was going to say. But my thing was, it's like I think they did it for the moment rather than having an actual thought of it being long term. I think they always had that in mind, that they would want to get that on the Usos. Maybe not this soon, but at some point to really it was like with with the Undisputed Era. We got all the gold. It's like who's going to stop us? But it's kind of it's kind of a double-edged sword, because who else was Ray and Dominic going to try to go against other than minus the Usos? Who are they going to have a feud with? And really putting them on the Usos for the visual of the group to be powerful and all that, they can run the show because they have nobody lined up as a tag team, legit tag team for them to compete against. I don't know who you would get as a face to try to get them to challenge them. But the bigger problem too is because what came out earlier in the week before Money in the Bank was Jimmy getting a DUI again, and it's like this seems to keep happening. You make it public about what happened to Jimmy, and then you put a title on. What's going on here? So I don't know. I would have not just done the match. I would have just said, hey, let's let things die down, then we'll put the titles on you. But in Vince's eyes, the hell with it. But for the visual, them all holding a title is very good. It looks like they're a dominant force, all that stuff. I didn't really foresee, again, I didn't really get why they wanted to take it off of Ray and Dominic, like you said. But like I said, it was more for the moment, more than actually having that they're going to carry this division or the lack of the division. But yeah, I mean, overall, the match was fine. Nothing wrong with it. I never even thought that this was going to be on the pre-show. That, like, when me and Casey did our side of the preview, I thought that was going to be on the main card. But to me, also how things played out, you could have taken this and put this on the pay-per-view and switched out AJ and Amos. But that's just me. But no, yeah, the match was fine. There was nothing wrong with it. It was kind of okay, nah, not bad, but nothing to write home about.
All right. Let's see. Moving into what's next on this card? The Money in the Bank for the women, which was good. Nikki Ash won. I think the more than even the match. Nikki Ash cashed in the next night on Charlotte. So I guess we'll kind of lump these in with Charlotte winning the title later on against Rhea, which I thought was, I love Charlotte, and it's not like I'm like, oh, it's unfortunate because Charlotte won. It's just I feel like Rhea was doing a pretty good job as champion in terms of this was allowing her to build her kind of steam on the main roster a little bit. Plus, they were going to take the title right off of Charlotte anyway to have Nikki Ash cash in, which I get it. It's the surprise factor. It's kind of the shock and awe factor of it, but uh, I want to see what they do with this. I'm not interested in the almost superhero thing. I'm not excited about it. I just don't care. It's just not something like it's just one of those characters that I'm sitting here like, well, okay. It's a character. It's
Especially when you
there.
find out what Ash actually stands for.
Yeah. Plus, when and it will be different if Nikki Cross's character previously wasn't worth a darn, but she had a good character before, and that's kind of the unfortunate part. But she won. They did a good job of teasing Zelina was going to win at some point, and also Alexa a little bit too. They did a good job with those two. Some people were literally just in this match like Tamina. Sorry, Tamina, but yeah.
Sorry, Liv Morgan.
Yeah. So, I mean, it was a good match. I don't know. Like, I enjoyed the Money in the Bank matches, but I don't know if I got to enjoy them as much as I usually do. Number one, because Peacock was absolutely terrible during the men's Money in the Bank match.
Oh boy!
I didn't even go back and watch it. That's the thing. That's what's hilarious about it. I didn't even go back and watch it. I think I was still sitting there like, this is terrible. But anyway, yeah. So yes, so Nikki Ash won the women's Money in the Bank, cashed in the next night on Raw, and ended up winning the title to end the show, which is a cool little moment to kind of end the show. But at the same time, it's Nikki Ash. Does anybody care? Because how, like, my thing is, and it goes back to, we talk about like characters and like galvanizing characters and characters that are like, yeah, like this is something I gotta watch. Nikki Ash ain't one of them. She just ain't. So, what's your thoughts on the women's Money in the Bank, also the women's title match with Charlotte winning the title, Nikki Ash coming back in and cashing in on Monday night, and
Yeah, and of the two, I would say that at least the women's the women's Money in the Bank match, they were actually trying to. It was an actual contest of them trying to get after the briefcase, as opposed to the men's, which was to me just a spot fest. It was fun, but it was just a spot fest. But and again, they busted their ass. Like there was some entertaining spots, and again, this is the my crux with this concept of the Money in the Bank match has always been fun, but again, just the actual purpose of what it's supposed to do. Why is a heel? Why does a heel not win every time? Because again, why would a babyface do what Nikki did, what Dolph did? Although Dolph a little bit of a different story because he had such the push from the crowd and
not
exploded
only
when he beat.
and like you said, and not only a heel, but like, why doesn't somebody who needs the briefcase win it every time? that's like, and I hate to say it, but like Ricochet's in the match. Like, although he's a face, the briefcase would catapult him in the same way that the briefcase catapulted Seth.
Punk.
Like Punk is another one, but Seth is also one where, and of course he was a heel, but Seth is also one who his career completely changed when he won Money in the Bank. And that's what the whole point of it is. That's why it's supposed to be this cash in thing. And like Nikki Ash is one of those where I'm kind of like, okay, you're trying to rebuild this character. I understand it, right? But
yeah, but they're trying to make her character mean something with the title, and that's she hasn't had any steam behind her for it to warrant that. The other thing that you brought up too, which I'm saying is why we have all these bodies and 5 of them, you're like, there is no way they are going to win. There is no way they're going to win. I had it that me and Casey both had our money on, no pun intended, had our money on Alexa. And again, if it's not that, who could possibly benefit from this? Nikki and God, I'm trying to remember, or Zelina. Zelina, she makes the comeback. She's the smallest of the bunch. She could sneak in and get it. Could really say, you know what, we effed up. We're going to push her. We're going to push
Another
her.
one that doesn't make
I'm
sense
not
to
completely.
me, though.
I'm not completely against.
So sorry, I was going to say another thing that doesn't make sense to me for people to win is face champions, face former champions. I never understand why face former champions are in this. Wouldn't they just want to earn it because they're the gritty worker? They want to earn it, right? Like,
right. Well, not only that, if you do I'm not going to do the surprise cash in. I'm going to face you. I'm going to face you. And if you lose, well, you look like the biggest moron. Because then people will say, well, why didn't you just take the cheapie? Like, again, there is exceptions. There is exceptions to every rule. Like when Punk did it. Punk did it after Batista beat the crap out of Edge. And then went in. So it was already, you had the crowd at a high point, like, Batista just took the piss out of Edge. Oh my God, here comes Punk to catch it, and it worked. They still were not completely behind him. That's why they had that goofy, he got attacked by Orton before that pay-per-view, and then Jericho ends up winning the title. But that's besides the point. But again, this one actually, it did feel like a contest. Wasn't too crazy about the finish. They had all those bodies up there, and Nikki throws up and swipes it. No one saw that. Come on. But it was at least somewhat more plausible as opposed to Mustafa Ali literally with his hands on the briefcase. Brock Lesnar music hits and he goes, "Oh!" I'm like, in this time frame, you couldn't just grab the thing. But again, the match was fun. Good for Nikki. Blah blah blah. In relation to the Charlotte and Rhea thing, I'm not surprised by this, and I'll give Casey credit. He called it. He said, "I have they're going to give it to Charlotte," and I didn't think it was that time yet. I don't think they've done a good enough job with Rhea's run. I'm still glad that she had the title, but her booking was goofy. It's like, again, is she a heel? Is she not? How am I supposed to react to Rhea? I still care for her, like when she's in the ring, whatever, though. But like, I don't know, just the way they had been booking her past Mania was very bizarre. But I thought that was a great match. Really got the crowd with fever pit. The crowd was on fire this night. I will say that the crowd was great. Really added to the mix. And again, it felt like a legit contest, and it also felt like an actual blood feud, which is, I think, maybe another reason why they took it off Charlotte, is that this is turning into something that is beyond the title. This is actually personal grudge. Great, but the title can help in that matter as well. But anyway, so then yeah, like the next night on Raw, that good for Nikki. She got the high water mark for her to close out the show. My thing is too, not only does that happen across body, really, she just comes up and waits and waits and waits and waits for Charlotte to get up. She has that move. She does like that twisted fisherman buster. I'm like, that would have really nailed it home. But this one, it was just a wee, like a Bad Bunny jump, and then 1, 2, 3. So, and I get it. This is, well, she beat Charlotte Flair. She beat the modern day female version of Ric Flair. It's like, but again, yes, it's also an out for Charlotte that she she got beat up by Rhea after that match, and there's that WWE logic of, well, she beat Charlotte, 1, 2, 3, being a former world champion. I'm like, yeah, but in a chicken what way? I'm like, again, that's not a baby face, and not only that, that is not a superhero in that regards. So what's going to happen is that there's going to be a match where they're going to say Charlotte's going to challenge her. They're going to put Rhea involved, and it's going to be a calamity multi-woman match to where Charlotte could take the pin again to then kind of say, yeah, she beat her and still protect Rhea. I don't know. They could go 1,000 ways, but I'm just like, can we get to a point where these gimmick matches actually build somebody? We brought it up before, like a King of the Ring, to where you can guarantee a title shot, not a surprise cash in or anything like that, but you're guaranteed a title shot. Not to mention you can do storylines within the King of the Ring tournament. So, but I mean, good, good for Nikki. Kind of clunky how they did it afterwards, but I'm not trying to completely dump on it because I do like Nikki. I wish she would have just remained the psycho, the sanity character from a few years prior. But again, this was her idea. It seems to have some pull. No, I don't think it's completely there yet, but I don't know. We'll let it play out.
It would have made sense too to put her in the little group with Alexa, and be that kind of. They can finally like get on one accord. Yeah. They can finally like get on one accord or whatever, instead of being kind of the odd couple, they can be a little bit more of a, this is her natural kind of being. This is where all this came from or whatever, since Sanity's no more anyway, but the Raw tag team titles, I did not care about because I like AJ Styles and Omos, but I don't think they're tag team title people per se. Viking Raiders, I think, should have won this match, and just let's do away with the AJ Styles and Omos thing because I like it, but I kind of just like AJ Styles. I mean, I like Omos being AJ Styles' just big guy in the back and being done with it.
Colossus.
Since he's still developing and everything too. Why put a title on him and overexpose him, I think. But you got any thoughts on that one?
You just took the word right out of my mouth. I'm not objecting. I'm not objecting to the match, and I'm not objecting to the result. I did think this did overexpose Amos a little bit. He was in there way too much. If you're gonna have him be in the match and actually get involved, it needed to be like it was at Mania. Again, and the thing is, even if it was predictable stuff, again, don't put this guy in a bad position. Because again, the Viking Raiders, these big brooding guys, let him crush him and let him get the pinfall. Again, I'm not saying a 4-minute match, but not as long as it did. I think they, and plus, if you hear the crowd, apparently those guys could have said, hey, the crowd is really behind you guys. Let's about face and we'll work like heels. They were still trying to have those guys work like it. They're getting that Diesel and Michaels aura, AJ and Amos. So run with it. People obviously react to Amos when he does big moves, but again, let that be the deciding factor because the guy that big should be able to clop, and that's it. And it is unfortunate too because I love War Machine. I still call him War Machine. Minnesota Viking, Oakland, Las Vegas Raiders, whatever the hell they're called. It ain't working. But again, I still like those guys. It was fine in spots, but then I did think it overstayed its welcome, and it did overexpose Amos a little bit. So I'm just saying, WWE just bring it down a little bit. Let him be strong. Let him be strong.
Yeah. WWE Championship match. Lashley, pretty much dominated Kofi for the most part. And it was weird because, like, why? My thing is, I don't have any issue with this happening, like in terms of him dominating Kofi, because that's what Lashley's supposed to do. But I guess the entire point of having Kofi beat him before and having Woods beat him before and teasing the breakup with the Hurt Business was to make this match seem a little bit more interesting. But like, then you didn't even let him have a competitive match. Like, and they didn't even like try to credit it to anything. Like, it just like this felt like it came out of nowhere in a way. Like, it felt, because my thing is, how is Lashley more focused now than he was? His mind was completely off of everything. Now, it would have been different if he would have been like at the end of Raw, the week before would have been like, MVP, I can't believe we really let this happen. We really let Xavier freaking Woods beat me. I got something for him. I got something for Kofi. That's it. Leave the ring and dominate Kofi at Money in the Bank. Boom. Makes sense. Not have him tease a breakup with the only person that makes you worth a darn, and then come out here and squash Kofi because that makes sense.
When he trashed the set, I thought they did break up.
Yeah.
It was that impactful. And then
they
he
kind of
walks
just
out with
acted
him.
like,
I'm like,
right. They kind of just acted like it didn't even happen.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what was the point of that? Like, what was the point? Like, it was supposed to make me think they were gonna be done, but then, like I said before, and I don't know if you heard this part because I don't know if you were listening when I was talking to Justin about this. I was like, why isn't MVP literally saying, "Hey, look what we've done together"? Doesn't have to be in a selfish way because that causes a breakup, right? But just like, think about it. Us together, we've won titles all over the world. Think about this, Lashley. Before you make any rash decisions, think about this. Think about what we're doing right now. You're the almighty champion. And then he goes and destroys Kofi. Like, now, maybe he said that backstage and they didn't show us and they just expect us to. But no, you can't expect us to know. You got to, like, dumb it down for us. We don't know what's going on. We ain't peeking behind the curtain. We don't know. Terrible, tragic it was. But I mean, I'm glad
and work with it a little bit.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, work with a little bit of saying goes like, buddy, before me, you had a tiny loudmouth lackey that did nothing for you. Since you got with me, Montez Porter,
mm-hmm.
I brought you back up to what now would be called the Almighty. Now the Almighty has the same weight to it that it should have had before. Because you listened.
You were getting, and remember, you were getting married to Lana.
Break it down. And nobody cared. And nobody cared.
I know they probably don't want to say that name anymore, but still, anyway. But still, like, just doesn't make sense. It just
I know you wanted me to spill the tea.
The ramifications of this particular result was that Keith Lee returned on Monday Night Raw, and then Lashley destroyed Keith Lee. For what reason, I don't know. My thing is, he destroyed Keith Lee in an open challenge, and then Goldberg comes back. Cool, right? I have no issues with Goldberg coming back. My issue is, why have him destroy Keith Lee? Just have Goldberg come answer the challenge and be like, I'm next. But at what it is, I'm coming to take your open challenge, but I'm not doing it tonight. I'm next. Bye. Like, no, boom, it's over. Like,
or have him squash somebody in 30 seconds. And here's how I viewed it. Here's how I viewed it, because, and to me, that match went exactly how it should have.
Have him squash Leon Ruff.
Well, no, like to me, the Kofi and Bobby match, that went exactly how it should have. But here's the thing: that should have been on Raw, not on a pay-per-view. Flip the script. And this is hindsight. Flip the script. So such and such, Kofi's dealing with an injury, and he can't go till tomorrow. He's got to nurse this and ready for tomorrow. So I'm issuing an open challenge. Then have Keith Lee come out and actually have a match. Because I don't know what it is. Keith Lee has pissed somebody off backstage. Because why bring him back to get murdered? Why? They literally disemboweled him on national television. But then, yes, if you don't want to do the same thing to Kofi on Monday Night Raw, have him do it to a job guy, and then have Goldberg come out and say, "You did that to him. You ain't doing that to me. I'm next." I mean, granted, I enjoyed every second of him beating the dog crap out of Kofi. Nothing against Kofi. He made him look like $1 million. He did exactly what he was there to do, whatever, though. The three dominators, and he made Kofi look like a rag doll when he put the Hurt Lock on. I'm like, awesome. Yeah. Bobby is slowly becoming one of my favorite performers right now. But in terms of the layout of the booking, makes no sense.
Yeah.
No sense.
And having this match before the Money in the Bank match, that never makes sense to me. Like, even if your entire plan is to not have a cash in, at least make us think. Wait, Kofi could win this match, and then, because honestly, if they would have flipped the matches, they could have easily had Big E still turn heel. They could have had Lashley. They could have had Lashley dominate Kofi, come out there, Big E come out there and like clock Kofi, just clock him and be like, I can't do this. I can't watch this anymore. I can't, like, I have the Money in the Bank briefcase and I don't want to cash in on you and play that card. But anyway, tragic. It's just so tragic.
I was bummed to leave New Day. Not anymore.
Yeah. So speaking of, Big E won the Money in the Bank ladder match. Good match, like you said, spot fest. Ricochet.
Here's my impression of the match.
Yeah. My impression is so then and so but Ricochet did some cool stuff, as is literally his job in this match. Kevin Owens took a ridiculous bump, which is literally his job in this match. That poor man. That poor man.
God.
He took a ridiculous bump through that ladder, which always pains me to see, because that's just the super big ending was nice. Off the ladder, that was cool. Big E winning was great. I think I still feel like there's that, like, I don't know. I still feel like Big E should turn heel with this. He just should. He needs something new. He's been a face for a while. He needs something new. So I kind of hope he does turn heel with this. Yeah. Also, just on an unrelated note, speaking of ridiculous debuts, Karrion Kross, for some reason, debuted on Raw and got beat by Jeff Hardy, because logic. Yep. And the thing is, the fans are already turning on him anyway. That's the thing. The fans are already turning on him anyway because Scarlett's not with him. And then you're good. They let him lose the Jeff Hardy.
We could do a whole hour just on that minute 39 match.
We should just wait on that, because that. Oh goodness.
That was dumb.
Anyway, I mean, have him answer the open chat. Anyway, I'm just have him answer the open challenge and have Goldberg spear him or something. I don't know. Don't do what you do. Anyway, moving forward. Yeah, Big E won the briefcase, which I think
lost to a babyface who cheated to win.
I think, right. Logic. I think Big E winning the briefcase was what we all expected. What was your thoughts on the men's Money? I think you gave a little bit of your thoughts, but
like I said, like it was fun. Big bumps. Kevin, this again. Nobody else has DJ's not here. It's just you and me. You don't have to. You don't have to murder. Commit yourself to be unalive every show. We love you. You don't. You don't have to sacrifice your body that much. That the TikTok sound in my head played after he took that power bomb, and then there's Chunky. He's dead. But let's think about this. How does one talk about that? Okay, I'm gonna go for a move. You're gonna flip it on me, and you're gonna power bomb me over the rope into a ladder. Okay, great. Why? Why? Also, is Ricochet made out of rubber? Because another one that took insane hair pulling, just gut wrenching spots where I'm like, he is going to die in the ring. I don't want to see this. But this match highlighted that they need to do something with him, and they need to do something with him badly. Because again, you don't elevate your stock by just having good matches on television. Yeah. Like he's literally getting sympathy from the crowd from taking these big bumps. Now you can dumb it down a little bit.
They literally had the opportunity for him to hit a big move on Drew when Drew hit the Alabama Slam. I was like, I know they're not going to do a Poison Rana, but it would be great right now for Ricochet. It would be great, but nope.
Tremendous.
but nope.
I will give them this. This was the first time they actually did a hospitalization angle, and they kept it. Mm-hmm. Jinder and his goons came out, attacked Drew, went to the back, and we never saw him again. Good. Yeah. That's how it should be. That. Not this. Yeah. Oh, he's gonna come back. Pavlovian's dog. Don't worry. He's coming back. I actually enjoyed that because it gets Drew out of the match. He has him out. Can have that program with Jinder for a little bit. They can slowly integrate back into the title picture. Just not, like right now, it's Big E's time. But yeah, again, this was fun minus the segments. I watched it later. I watched the replay, and there was one spot where it went to black for a second and kicked back on after when Charlotte and Rhea were having their match. So this one I got to see in its entirety. But oh my god, like the bumps in this match. Like I said, it was entertaining. I'm happy for Biggie. That the super big ending spot was incredible. The big ending has like always not confused me, but to me it's almost like the Spanish Fly. I'm like, aren't you taking the brunt of the slam? I just anyway, like it's a slam and a cutter, kind of. I don't know. He just maybe just a little tweak to the moveset. He works like he should, but yes. But anyway,
I need powder Big E back. And that's what I'm looking for.
Yes!
When he turns heel.
Yes!
When he turns heel, I need this. I need this back. Anyway, I love Big E. I was so hyped with Big E.
Totally agree.
The main event, Edge versus Roman Reigns. Good match. I love both of these guys. I still feel like my only issue was they didn't try to hit on Edge saying like he's got to win this. He may have to go to another place or what. They didn't hit on that at all. They made him work face the whole match like dummies. Like, why?
Dummy. Yeah.
Like, why? Like, let him do something dastardly to make us think like, okay, this dude's really got to go to this place to win the title because it's all that Edge has done ever in his career. That's the only part I didn't like about this match. It was a good match. It was a long match. After Roman won, of course. They did do a ref bump in this one too, which I could have swore this was no DQ. Maybe I was lying, but was this no DQ?
I think it was. I think it was just a straight match.
Oh, okay, but yeah, they did a ref bump and whatnot, and Edge locked in his crossface, but it didn't really do any good because the ref was out, and yeah. Uh,
But I did like
yeah,
the spot. I did like the spot while that's happening. Jay and Jimmy are trying to get into the ring. Dominic and Ray come out and
yeah.
foil it, and you're like, "Oh my God, here we go!
Mm-hmm.
Here comes the ref," and then here comes
Yeah.
Seth twice,
Seth, yeah.
which was another.
And then, which the thing was, he hit him with a kick. Why don't you just curb stomp him? Why? Just curb stomp him.
I did not get that, because not only that, super kick to the side of the head. All that time elapses. Edge makes the comeback. Here comes Seth back, takes a boot to the face after delivering a spear to Roman, and gets a 2 count. And then spear 1, 2, 3. I mean, again, it was exciting, a lot of stuff, but that one I was just kind of like, ah.
Yeah. So Roman won, and then at the end of the show, what I know, John Cena came out, which I was excited about. I don't understand John Cena. I knew it was coming.
I don't think you understand. I don't think people understand how loud that crowd got. That was the loudest reaction I've ever heard in a long, long time.
Yeah, that was good. I'm excited for their match at SummerSlam. I think it's going to be, it's fitting of SummerSlam. Could be like one of those passing of the torch type of matches, or you have Cena break the record. You can't lose, right? In terms of what you do with the match. But I mean, I definitely think he gives Roman the win here. I definitely do. But anyway, we can talk about that a little bit more later on. But I'm excited for the build. I think they're trying to be a little bit edgier with the build, I think, with this one. Plus, it's Roman and Cena. They're going to let them do whatever they want and say whatever they want, which is always good.
Mm-hmm.
Always good.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to be exciting. I'm loving what Roman's doing right now. As usual, Cena coming back is always good. I think, and until for a while, Cena coming back is always, especially since he's been gone for so long, right? Like people have been thinking like maybe he'll come back now, maybe he'll come back here, maybe he'll come back there, but SummerSlam I think is a good place to do it, because I think for a little bit SummerSlam has kind of just been not as big of a show as like they wanted it to be, or that we're used to seeing. So definitely gonna be exciting. What was your thoughts on everything and kind of the start of the build with Roman and Cena?
This is perfect, and you also know damn well those guys are closing the show. They better. I'll say this too. They better close the show at SummerSlam. But again, this is perfect. Now Roman is polished. If for anybody that hasn't seen it, go look at Roman's promo on SmackDown. It is perfect. He's finally he can give it back to John a little bit. The promos leading up are going to be tremendous.
But the thing is,
you see?
Why? Here's my thing though. Why can't everybody get a little bit of control of what they say?
What are you talking about? They have to be scripted. It can't just be like missionary over and And also, did you see Paul have that stare down with John from the aisleway?
I haven't seen
it. Dude. I will send you the GIF again, or I'll tag you the GIF, because I tagged Casey and I said we do not deserve Paul Heyman. But yeah, I mean, the promos leading up to it can be so perfect. And again, not to mention, John Cena and Roman right now are the quintessential things that I've been saying forever. I'm not saying you have them and curse like sailors, but they convey the message and actually sound authentic, and not just I'm gonna kick your butt, or just do this over elaborated scripting of their promos where they speak like nobody else speaks in the world. This is not how you talk in conflict. But yes, it's like let these guys be themselves a little bit. And right now, they are the perfect foil for each other.
Yeah, and I think SmackDown is definitely the show to watch right now. I wish they would get rid of that 3D thing of Roman doing his little pose thing. Please, that thing looks awful. Anyway, and when did he start back freaking cocking his fist before he does the Superman punch again? He stopped doing. He still did that, but he did the freaking ooh ah thing again. He stopped doing that. When?
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm excited about this. This makes me excited to watch the build for SummerSlam, definitely. And then AEW's got me excited thinking about, is Punk coming? Is Bryan coming? So, like, thank you, wrestling. This is what we've asked for years now, to give us things to be excited about. Thanks. Appreciate that. But anyway, any final thoughts on anything before we tell the good people good night?
No, I'm excited. I'm excited for the build to SummerSlam. SummerSlam's always been. I mean, my God, the best for the longest time. The best match I'd ever seen was Perfect versus Brett, and that was SummerSlam '91. So there's still a lot of cachet and clout with SummerSlam. And then and on the flip side with AEW, like I am intrigued. Especially coming up next week. They're going to have Nick Gage go against Jericho. Again, this is backwards booking, but it's car crash TV, so I'm gonna suffer through it. But no, it's just they're doing the 12 labors of Hercules. Here's the thing: you don't put the sinister one number 2 in the exchange. And Sting, insert here, Sting. Why? By the grace of all things that is good. Why would you succumb to the bad booking that is Orange Cassidy?
No, that was amazing. That was the best thing I've seen all week.
I've already had this discussion. I can't even. And the thing is, I can't even say. And Casey brought up. I can't even say Sting. That is Steve Borden dressed as Sting, trying to fit in. I hung my head in shame when I saw that. I was just like, and I mentioned it took away from the match. Why did you have to do that? They better be paying you a good amount of money, Sting. That's all I'll say. Well, you would do the same thing if you were paid that much. Yes, I would, but that's not the point. I don't make that much. I want my wrestler from the '90s, damn it. But again, like I'm waiting. I'm going to sit back and wait patiently to see what they're going to do with the Punk thing. I will go ballistic if they really do get Daniel Bryan, because again, there is a plethora of things that they can do in ring. But I just if you get these guys, do not book them in crappy television. Just like keep them who they are and let them just have their skills in the ring shine on screen, and don't have them do this cosplay BS. But that's besides the point. But anyway, no, like the next month or two is starting to pick up a lot of steam of possibilities. So this is going to be a lot of fun.
Yep, definitely should be. We'll be back I'll get with Casey and Justin, and we'll talk a little bit about kind of the week ahead / week that just passed, probably sometime later on in the week as well, just to kind of get their thoughts on things too. But definitely fun review. Appreciate it. You coming by, of course, as always, Adam. Always fun.
Yes.
Be sure to let us know what you guys thought about Money in the Bank and how excited you are about whatever's going on in wrestling, whatever you're excited about. But as always, if you want to watch us, Facebook or YouTube. If you want to listen, Spotify, Apple Podcast, Anchor as well. So be sure to hit up all of those places, every single one of them, all at the same time, and see if you can sync them all up. That's your challenge.
And again, show them to your auntie, show them to your friends, show them to your enemies, all that jazz.
Make sure you get Auntie and Unky. My Auntie and Unky, you got to make sure you get them. Make sure you get them. But definitely hope you guys enjoyed as always. This has been the Instant Classic Wrestling Podcast, the only podcast that is always, and I mean always, and even Adam means always, an instant.